The small town of Myślenice, around 30 kilometers south of Krakow, hosted the latest GP of the Outdoor Trial World Championship. After a tough round in Italy, the World Series had no rest and visited Poland for the second Grand Prix to be contested inside a month, at the most intense stage of the calendar. This was the 14th time the Trial Championship visited Poland and the second time in a row for Myślenice. Last year was the first occasion that the FIM competition came to this Eastern European country since 1995. The location was relatively easy for some Northern and Eastern European based riders to attend a GP for the first time this year, such as local hero Tadeusz Blazusiak or others like Czech Martin Krustek or Sweden's Anders Nilsson. Like most of Northern Europe, the sixth round of the championship was hit by heavy rain in the run-up to the event, and the ground became very soft and slippery in some places. However, the morning of the trial dawned clear of showers, and the riders and spectators were rewarded with pleasant temperatures and a cool breeze. The GP was set in and around small riverbeds under dense tree cover, with very steep banks and turns making up the majority of the sections, and with very little of the large rock steps the riders are more used to facing. Only the final handmade section was open to the bright sunshine. So in the general standings then, Tony Bowe the leader by 17 points from Adam Raga, Takahisa Fujinami in third, Doug Lemkin fourth and Albert Cabestan in fifth. Despite the temperatures, Tony Bowe maintained his cool from the outset, completing the first lap in style. The Repsol Montesa HRC rider confessed he felt a little bit nervous at the beginning after the poor initial classification he gained at the last Polish GP 12 months ago. The consistent leader showed his quality from the start and took first place in the provisional standings after only 4 sections. Only 2 5s in a row on sections 9 and 10 were the bigger mistakes in a brilliant first lap, which the young Spaniard completed with only 12 penalty points. Although the severity of the sections was not very high, it was easy to make mistakes due to the damp and tricky conditions. Bowe could manage the pressure at the start of the second loop after a very close tussle with Lemkin, Cabestan, Fujinami and Raga right on his heels. Bowe reacted to a possible threat by putting together a string of impressive results in his second attempt at the circuit. The indoor world champion could take a breath after an amazing run through the first 9 hazards in which he only lost 1 dab. Poor mistakes on sections 4, 10 and 13 by his peers saw him take an important advantage. Although he added another point due to exceeding the time limit, Bowe reaffirmed himself again as the in-form rider of the moment and clinched his 7th win of the season.
Perfecta, si te agrada.
With a total score of 18, Bo was once more an unreachable figure for other riders and continued his superb streak, increasing his gap to 20 points, a Grand Prix advantage in the standings over main rival Adam Raga. The reigning number 1 and second place rider in the standings for the World Championship had another chance to continue fighting against his main threat in regaining the title, Tony Boll. The level of the hazards meant that the top riders could do little to counter any differences amongst them, and as a result Adam Raga concluded the first half in 5th position overall, only 5 penalties behind the leader and 2 points to the podium places. 3 marks were added at sections 4 and 10, besides 2 5s almost consecutively at sections 9 and 11, forcing Raga to surrender the second provisional place he had defended on the first part of the circuit. The double champion had 17 points at the end of the first lap. Raga came unstuck at the trickier parts of the course in the second half of the day. He accumulated 7 points on sections 9, 10 and 11. But he had a great run at most of the other hazards to end the second lap with only 11 points, the second best score of the second lap, and this let him overtake and climb up to the runner-up position. His fighting performance shot him to the podium, but he finished again behind Tony Boll. Despite his incredible regularity and podium consistency this year, Raga now has a 20-point deficit to the leader with only 4 rounds left. Albert Cabastan suffered a hefty crash 1 week before at the GP of Italy, although he could recover and completed the round at Erba. After chasing the scoreboard and experiencing some pain in his leg, it seemed like the Sherco rider was riled and determined to put his bad luck and lacklustre form to one side in Poland and aim for the podium. The Catalan finished very close to the rostrum on both days of the double event held in Japan, but generally he had underperformed in the first half of the season, a Grand Prix like Spain, Guatemala and France finishing far adrift of the leaders. 3 cleans in a row at the opening sections in Poland gave him a boost, and Kavastan completed his first visit to the course with 15 marks and only won 5 on section 10. However, things looked again to be going wrong after an uncertain start on the second lap. He was charged with 11 points and 5 twice in the first 4 hazards. But Kavastan recovered and unveiled some of his best riding to pick up only 4 marks on the next 11 sections. Finally, the Spaniard achieved the same result he took from the first half of the day. With an overall score of 30, Kavastan beat Fujinami by just 1 single point in their close fight for the last podium slot. This great result led him strengthen 5th position in the championship standings and gained some ground on Dougie Lampkin's 4th place. Although he missed the top 3, Takahisa Fujinami had a notable showing in Poland. The Repsol Montesa Honda star rode very consistently throughout the day, and especially in the first half, to become a serious candidate to repeat victory on Polish soil as he had done in 2006. The Japanese rider completed the first loop tied with Kavastan and only 3 penalties behind the leader. After covering the first third of the hazards effectively in the second circulation, Fujinami took a good advantage over Kavastan and enjoyed a nice duel against Raga to defend the runner-up spot. But any mistake would prove costly in Poland, and Fujinami fouled again at sections 9 and 10, taking the same penalty score, 8, in these 2 hazards that he had in the first half. Fujigas lost a little bit to Raga's rear wheel, and his main goal from then on was to assure 3rd position. Running over the time limit became a severe punishment with Fujinami this time, and 2 more dabs sent him down to 4th place. Meister-Nice ended a fantastic spell with 3 consecutive podiums in the last 3 rounds for the Repsol Montesa Honda rider. Fujinami had reason to feel hard done by. Without picking up the 2 time penalties, the most cleans rule would have decided 2nd place, and with 19 cleans to Raga's 18, Fujinami would have prevailed behind Bo. Although his position in the standings is not in danger, Takahisa Fujinami has almost said goodbye to his chances of the title, and from now on he'll have to focus on maintaining the cushion he has against Lampkin and Kavastan. Dougie Lampkin finished just 5 marks off 4th place and a tantalising single further mark from the podium. Again, the final result did not belie the Yorkshireman's efforts as he began with one of his best rides so far this season, which had him showing fantastic form on the first lap, and he even reached a position of provisional leader after section 10. An unlucky 5 on section 13 when a rock got caught under his footrest and tipped him over let Bo take the initiative again at the front, but the Briton still ended the first lap second, 2 points from his teammate. Lampkin's second lap also started well, and he was settling into the form that netted him multiple titles. However, things were soon to turn around as he 5 sections 4 and 5. The fourth hazard was a tricky task, but he admitted the next was much easier and he shouldn't have taken 4 marks there. He also stalled his factory Cotter 4-stroke twice in the remainder of the lap, picking up 8 marks in the process. He was clearly frustrated at the result, which without these extra points would have seen him finish second and make a welcome return to the podium. Lampkin's injured hand was also quite painful during the day, but the Polish GP wasn't a particularly physical trial. The final 5th position impeded the Repsol Montesa rider in reducing the gap on Fujinami in the championship, while the combination of Albert Cabastan stepping up to 3rd place on the podium also cut 4 points from his difference over the Spaniard. After his excellent performance in Italy 1 week before, where Marc Friesche fought consistently for podium positions, especially in the first half of the day, the Scorpa rider was unable to show the same form in Poland. Although 6th position overall let him equal his 2nd best result this year, Friesche was always very far from the top riders. He racked up 5 maximum penalties on the first lap and increased his score until 28 marks at the end of his first attempt at the circuit. From then, Friesche slipped into a hot battle for 6th position versus Briton James Dabble. He almost failed in the same hazards on his 2nd lap, but he could at least lower his score by 5 points and obtain a final total of 51. Friesche confirmed 6th position by just 1 single dab, but he concluded the GP miles away from the top 5. James Dabble was less than impressed with his first lap, picking up a dab in the first of the day's sections, which saw numerous climbs from streams and various descents. He went on to sustain the first of 4 maximums at section 2 when he got slightly offline. Like many of the riders, he was also faced with time pressures, as to ensure accuracy the riders were forced to spend considerable time studying the conditions and the right lines. His 2nd lap started better than his first and he felt far more at home than early in the day. He once again failed at the 2nd section, this time due to not carrying enough speed into the steep climb. He would only pick up 1 more 5 on the lap, but did admit to an unnecessary 2 marks gained at the penultimate hazard. He complained of tired arms on the particularly long section, which resulted in additional marks and the loss of 6th place overall. Jeremy Fajardo took one of his worst results of the season after finishing in 8th place in Poland. The better rider was again rather inconsistent and experienced a lot of problems with the nature of the trial, especially on the first lap. Fajardo fell to 10th place at the end of the first loop, behind riders like Blazusiak and Oliveras. He committed a lot of big mistakes, dropping maximum penalty points at 6 sections and only saved 5 clean zones. The Spaniard rode much better in the second half of the day and was able to obtain the 5th best partial on the second lap. The 17-point lifeboat let him improve his profile in Poland, and Fajardo gained 2 positions in the standings with a final result of 53, 1 point behind Dabble and 2 behind Frisia. French rider Jerome Berthon had won the European round held at Meissen-Nice the day before the GP of Poland and could show his skills again on the circuit. The better rider was fighting throughout the trial against Spaniard Daniele Gibert. Both were tied at 48 penalties at the end of the first lap, and the situation continued on the second loop. Berthon, who showed his best riding at the beginning and through the last hazards of the circuit, could beat Gibert due to 2-point sections, after the 2 riders were also matched on cleans and the 1 dab section ranking. The best French rider in the series, Christophe Baran, wasn't able to repeat the nice performance that led him into the top 10 in Italy. Aboard his 4-stroke Sherco bike, he equalled Berthon and Gibert at the end of the first lap. He slightly improved on the second attempt at the sections, but was not able to pass his rivals, and finally took 13th position. The GP of Poland saw Czech better rider Martin Krustek and Sweden's Anders Nilsson compete. Both finished close to the top 15. Krustek couldn't improve his scores on the second lap. The Czech rider showed his best riding on sections 6, 12 and 14, finally obtaining 17th position in the Grand Prix of Poland. So the overall scores at the Grand Prix of Poland: Tony Bow the winner from Adam Raga and Albert Cabastan making the podium for the first time. Takahisa Fujinami takes 4th place just ahead of teammate Dougie Lamp. Tony Bow then once more scales the podium, and all Spanish top 3 with Adam Raga 2nd and Albert Cabastan in 3rd place. Now my position in the championship is great after winning here. Last year I finished 7th with a bad performance in Poland, and I was a little bit worried for this reason before the race. But it's clear we've done a good job, and in the end the change has been tremendous.
Not very happy because I don't take the good feeling in any moment, but second position is not so bad, so we have to keep working.
Yeah, I'm happy. Obviously I need that podium because a lot of races without a podium in the outdoors, so it's important. I make a good job. It's difficult going in front of the other riders, but today it's been possible. Very, very close to Adam also, but that proves me that I'm riding well, so that I must keep for the next races.
So in the championship standings now, Tony Bow has a 20-point advantage over Adam Raga. Takahisa Fujinami is still in 3rd, ahead of Lamp King Cabastan and Jeroni Fajardo in 6th. Let's enjoy the best action from the Grand Prix of Poland. The World Championship moves swiftly over the border to the Czech Republic for round 7 of the 2007 season.